y'all. Friday the 5th, and I am way behind today. Holy crap, man. 4:30 in the morning, woke up, started, and just everything that possibly can get crazy has gotten crazy today. Well, not everything, but I'm going to limit to what it is. I don't want to take on any more stuff to try and figure out how I'm going to handle it, right? There's a lot of things to handle in many different directions, not just or transactions, not just, not just personnel, not just, I've got that house next door that I'm rehabbing. I might have talked about that before that I picked up. Every plumbing fixture we got ain't fitting right now. So we're trimming out the office area and none of it fits. In fact, some of it, we opened up the crates and it's broken. So plumbers can't, they're going to have to cut in the walls and change stuff again. It's the way things work, right? And the other thing of it is with the nature of what timing is like today, it's taking forever to get the stuff we need. You order something, it's taking twice as long. Kind of like what we're doing on the loan side, right? We're not as fast as we want to be because we have so much to do on every deal. In fact, just recently they changed the loan applications. Now we have to have people do new loan applications that we had them on file already, but now we can't because they changed it. So with those changes, we're going through all kinds of madness right now in the office. So a couple things to talk about. We're going to get into the markets because there's a lot to talk about in the markets today. But let me share a screen with you. I've shared with you a lot of times, but I'm going to share with you again. So I had a recent occasion to meet with the guys from OUR. So we've got this right here, the campaign we're doing. And then when you go into the donation, you get to see who these guys are. Operation Underground Railroad. I talked about you guys going on to Amazon Prime, looking up Operation Toussaint. This is Tim Ballard right here, so you can know what this guy does. Well, so we're making headway. We've actually kind of stalled out a little bit, but we continue to keep contributing every transaction we do, $50 for every transaction we do. So we're still seeing a pretty good amount of capital going that way. Well, what I want to talk to you about briefly here is what I learned in some of my recent meetings with the actual guys that do this. Now, I've had an occasion to meet with them on a couple times. I have another opportunity to go meet with them again later this month. Well, they're saying from what they know statistically speaking, that there's over 30 million people enslaved in the world today. 30 million. That's way bigger than any number we had in the past. Now, they know somewhere in the range between 9 and 10 million, they're slavery for sex. Now, here's where it starts to get pretty wild. And I'm actually going to stop the screen here for this one. So 9 to 10 million slavery for sex, right? What they know of the others is that is slave for labor, organ harvesting, and the one that's probably going to surprise you the most, blood sacrifice. People, and there's a recent story about Tim Ballard and Operation Underground Railroad and a rescue they did of somebody who was sold for sacrifice. And there was a witch doctor of sorts, of whatever religion that was sold to, that was using them for their worship services. This, I think it was a kid. So pretty amazing things going on out there in the world that we're not aware of. But you can't say you're not aware now. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. That's what's driving me to do this all the time, to get on do these YouTube shows. Got my Quit Jerking Off initiative for things like this. It's got to be more than about me. It's not about me. It's about being a voice to push for something else. And then how would I do that? I do that for the benefit of other people in some other form, by the loans we do for investors. We focus on trying to help you build your business, do the strategies and the thought process. I got team members I'm hiring like crazy to ensure we get these deals done. We're trying to be sure we get it done for you and the people that trust us to refer us you as their client, who becomes our client, so everybody can join in the success. And then we can fuel something like this, Operation Underground Railroad. So just know that the reason I do a lot of stuff I do is because I have a bigger purpose now. And part of that purpose is to ensure your success. Because if you're successful, we can fund these things, right? So that's a big deal to me, to be able to do that kind of thing. So let's get into the market a little bit here and see what's happening here. Wild stuff going on. Not anticipated whatsoever. Nobody did think this was going to happen. In fact, every analyst I've been looking at is still scratching their head as to why we are where we are, especially with the Fed dumping so much into the markets. But there's still a lot of fear going on out there that we're dealing with. So mortgage-backed securities, as you can see, have been taking a beating, an absolute beating here. And we have come off. We've found what we believe to be the floor, as we talked about before, but we're still trying to come off of that. What's interesting is we had the ADP numbers earlier this week that helped things. That was back in here. where we had the ADP numbers come out and say where the state of the economy was, and that was very, very encouraging, as you can see here, right? ADP showing weakness, showing that it's going to help in the bond world. We're showing that weakness in the economy because we do know there's weakness out there. And then today, the non-farm payrolls come out really, really good, which doesn't make any sense. And in fact, Scotty on my team sent that to me, the link of the news that came out. And my guy, I sent something directly back to him, an instant message. I believe it was like 7:30 this morning, saying, I don't understand that one. If ADP was saying one thing, why is it the non-farm payrolls, the actual so-called official numbers, are so much better? I don't know that I can trust that. And now we got a write-up from an analyst that I follow, and he says also non-farm payroll numbers were shockingly good. In fact, too good in my opinion. Yes, I'm not as positive about the economy as many people. I do not trust that always trust the government numbers. How is it that the ADP report was so horrible, showing only 117,000 new jobs, and the jobless claim number has not dipped below 750 since like forever? But suddenly we create more than 2 times the anticipated amount of jobs. How's that possible? So he also further said that even if it was true, right, we've only averaged 80,000 new jobs per month, which is horrible. It's really not that good anyway. So bonds did open up weak as a result. As we can see right here, it opened up very low, but it closed the gap, and it's above the bottom. So the bottom where it closed yesterday. Yesterday was an ugly day. So I don't know where it's heading, right? What does this mean for interest rates? So let's say you got quoted way back here at one point. When we started your transaction, we closed at 105.53. So what does that mean? Let's say you got quoted that day somewhere, let's say at 3.625 on that day, right? So 105.53 is basically it's basically telling you the value or where that instrument sits. Kind of another explanation getting into some other time. So if you're talking about that, and let's say now you're at a point where you found a property and you can get in there and you can lock a rate, but now we're talking about it closing somewhere in the range of 103.34. Well, you subtract the 105.53 that you got up here from the 103.34, and you see that the market has moved 219 basis points. That's the difference between these two, 2.19, which is 219 basis points. Well, that right there is equal to over 2 points in cost. That'd be a 2.125 cost to get that same rate. Or do you take a higher rate, which would probably be somewhere in the range of 0.5% higher in interest rate. So those are things you want to know when you're looking at these charts, when you're seeing things decline like that. The difference between the day you may have received some quote paperwork versus where a lock day, if there is a gap like that, if the whichever one is lower, right? The higher one's going to be the better price, the lower one's going to be the lower price, or the more expensive rate, or the higher rate, if you will. So because of that, we can see that much of a change right now. It's happened so rapidly, and it's happened, and you've seen all these floors of support that would say, okay, this is just an anomaly, and then all of a sudden something else happens. So we don't know where it's going, but ultimately, even if the rates, like every time I quote somebody, we talked about before, I think about the cash value of money and all that stuff. I always run those numbers for everybody based on a 4.5% rate. They don't know it. Even though we talk about rates in the threes, I run all that data on a 4.5% rate to be able to show it really doesn't matter what the rates are. They get excited about the actual end result data, the real numbers, and they don't even know what the interest rate was that I was running it on. So ultimately, rates really don't matter as much as you think. If it's cash flowing, if it's one that will stay rented, and if it's ones that you can raise rents on, it really doesn't matter. I got 3 houses right now with over 6%, and I haven't refied them because I don't care. I'm cash flowing like crazy on them. I get to write that off on my taxes. There's so much good that's happening there that doesn't matter to me to take the time to refinance because of a couple of points in interest rate. Right now, the state of inflation is so high that this money is still free. This money is still free up until probably about 8%, as far as I'm concerned, because the rate of inflation pretty much just wipes it out. In fact, you're making money on this spread no matter what the rate is right now. I think we found a floor. I think nobody knows. Even traders that have been doing this for 40 years are still scratching their head at some of the variant between the numbers. But we'll just continue to keep giving you data. That's all I can do. And keep putting people in place to help you become successful in the acquisition of your properties and keep expanding your holdings. We'll come back around and talk to you again on Tuesday.